spreads confusion and promotes lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ spreads confusion and promotes lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ spreads confusion.
Hey everybody, it's Thursday, November 24th, Thanksgiving of all days, and we're here, This Non-Religious Life. I'm your host, Ken. We got Bob.
How's it going?
And Jason.
Hello.
All those thousands of miles away, and his creepy hello.
Hello.
Hello. I'm going to do the whole show in this voice.
Please don't.
God. And we have a really full plate for you.
Because it's Thanksgiving, you got to have a full plate.
Right.
Footwork, yeah, full plate. I eat Thanksgiving. Good pun, right? No pun is a good pun, by the way. He who would pun would pick a pocket.
He's losing me.
Yeah, sorry. I hate puns.
It's the tryptophan.
It's like the lowest stage of humor. It's maybe just a bubble limerick.
And at MarsCon, which we'll be at, because we're the official podcast of MarsCon, they have a pun contest.
Yeah, they're having a pun contest.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway.
We have a lot to get through today, guys. So, anything you guys are feeling more than anything else?
Take the lead.
I want to take a moment, since it is Thanksgiving, for us all to have a moment of silence and be thankful for the things that we have in our life and that God has provided for us.
Okay. Well, now I'm officially motioning that we abandon Thanksgiving and we'll call it Blamesgiving.
Blamesgiving.
We can talk about all the stuff that God didn't do, or all the stuff that he messed up, or every tragedy that ever occurs, we're going to blame him.
But there's a flaw in that philosophy.
God didn't give me a PS3, God damn it. Still.
There's a flaw in both of you philosophies.
And what is that?
This is part of God's plan. You didn't get the PS3 because...
Right, part of God's plan.
Anyway.
Because God doesn't want me to play God of War 3? Yeah, because it's a dick.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Maybe that's more of a Christmas thing.
Well, Christmas is a whole new thing. Is anyway, go ahead. The war against Christmas.
But I guess
that's
aside from the fact that this is it's kind of a quasi-religious holiday. You know what's funny? I lived in Canada for 4 years while I was going to school, and
keep bragging.
Their Thanksgiving is closer to Columbus Day.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know, right? And I would go there and be like, no, it's Thanksgiving. I'd be like, no, I'm from New England. I think I know what Thanksgiving is.
But you were in Canada.
My people invented it. It is a made-up holiday for when they came over to whitewash the fact that they killed all the natives. Columbus did a similar thing, but I mean, it's my holiday. God damn it.
I don't have any. I really don't. I know that there's some groups out there that are very opposed to these types of holidays, be it Thanksgiving or Christmas, and I just look at it from a secular point of view. I mean, it's an excuse to get together with friends and family, and just, I don't know, just enjoy each other's company. It doesn't need to be more than that. And if I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, it has its roots in this. Fine, but what it is now is nothing like how it started out. Like these things change over time, and I just think change with it.
Has it changed?
Oh yeah.
I mean, kind of. The original story was that the Pilgrims and the Indians got together and shared a gigantic meal so they wouldn't all starve.
I've always thought that was fairy tale. Always thought
it
that
is
was like
a fairy tale.
Yeah. So what has changed?
That's the story behind it. I mean,
the way it's celebrated.
Jesus being born in a manger is a fairy tale too. But
no, I know. But I'm just saying I don't understand what's changed because.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not an expert on Thanksgiving either, but from my understanding, you had this symbolic thing that did not happen, and then everybody gets around, cooks food in honor of the harvest, and thankful for all that.
Well,
crap.
for instance, it used to be on Thanksgiving Day, the whole freaking world was closed. There was nothing open on Thanksgiving.
That's just because we're in a capitalist society.
But now Thanksgiving has become a little more commercial, and I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying that's the direction it's going. So now you can have Thanksgiving dinner with your family, and then the bar's open at 7, and you can self-medicate with a few beers to get over the dinner with the family.
I don't know.
Who doesn't need to get over?
But what I'm saying is it's changing, right? And it used to be that on a Thanksgiving, the only place you could go to eat would be the Chinese restaurant.
And I've spent many a Thanksgiving.
Right.
Yeah.
But now it's different. A lot of places are open for Thanksgiving dinner.
And I think the workers get the short end of the deal for that. Fuck that.
Well,
if your boss makes you work on Thanksgiving,
but it's not a huge day where you have to work. And if you're in that line of business, I mean, that's just sort of the way it goes. And there's lots of people who work on holidays. There's lots of jobs that people work 7 days. You know, things are running 7 days a week. You have lights and water, so you know there are guys working at the power stations and the water stations.
Fuck that! Shut off your power. Turn off the water.
But those are things that people accept. When before the idea of having to work on Thanksgiving Day was like, oh my gosh, you have to work on Thanksgiving Day. Now people do it all the time.
I'm still like, you have to work on a holiday? I think for
many people choose to work on a holiday.
I don't think they have the right to choose. I think it should be all shut down.
So so Thanksgiving is a much more, in the grand scheme of things, Thanksgiving is a much more recent holiday, and Christmas has gone through many changes over the years. And our idea of Christmas has been informed by Charles Dickens and Coca-Cola.
It's true.
With the Santa Claus. And I heard this guy talk, and he made the best point about the changes in Christmas and the things that we don't realize that have changed. And he was making the argument that one of the biggest things that has sort of informed our perception of the Christmas holidays was Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Which, arguably, that's probably the point.
But that's Christmas. We're talking about Thanksgiving.
But at the end it's the same idea. At the end of A Christmas Carol, Scrooge has this big turnaround, and he decides that he wants to do something for the Cratchit family. So he sticks his head out the window and calls to the boy on the street and gives him the money to go get them a Christmas goose. But that implies that the butcher shop is open on Christmas Day.
And also implies that the kid just didn't run off with the money.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like the kid had nothing better to do.
It's like, what is a kid outside? He means he's homeless? He's an orphan?
We sort of take it for granted. Like, oh my God, Ebenezer Scrooge did such a good thing. He bought his family the Christmas gift. The butcher shop was open on Christmas Day. How much stuff is open on Christmas Day around now?
It's been proven fact that butchers are soulless, callous people. They don't celebrate holidays. So.
Yeah. So and you know what? I'm kind of the mindset, like, why is it that we also turn a holiday which should be about sort of friends and family into the mass slaughter of an animal?
Yeah.
That's a little weird.
Genocide.
Did you actually see there was a Psychology Today article about that just last week? It was really good. I'll send it to you, but it was good.
The only holiday that I'm upset that changes is Halloween. I just remember that the stuff that we could buy during October was so much better, and now it's just been mass produced and just really crappy stuff that you can get now. You could used to get really fucking evil things at Walgreens and stuff, and now, I mean, like these skulls that I have all over the house. Walgreens $1.99. You can't get that shit anymore.
It's too scary.
This is from 50 years ago, and they're actual human skulls.
Yeah.
And Jason bought them for $1.
But no, and they're from India, so nobody cares.
Yeah. But they have perfect teeth.
Yeah. You got the reference. That's good. I like that. Anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah. Thanksgiving, guys.
Yeah, I'm stuffed.
All right. Let's move on to something. Something that we've covered before, but it's blowing up now. I think we should talk about it because we definitely tried to do a lot with it. Some of you may remember a few months back, Governor Rick Perry in Texas wanted to have this gigantic prayer summit he called the Response, but now it's sort of taken on a life of its own and it's on the road now, going to all the Republican primaries.
I wish Virginia was on that map.
I do too. In fact, when I read it, I was like, "Holy shit, we're gonna get to go after all."
Yeah,
it's gonna
I'm
happen.
kind of surprised it's not.
Yeah.
Our prayers are answered. The mountain came to Mohammed.
I don't think Ken prayed hard enough because he knew he was leaving Virginia, and that's why they're not going.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Well, no, I'm saying
it would have been nice though.
With the Virginia governor, a man who recognized April as Confederate History Month, yet for some reason decided to whitewash the whole topic of slavery from that issue. I'm kind of surprised that it's not going there. I haven't seen the list of where it's going.
They're going to wind
exactly.
up. They're going to wind up going to, key swing states, and they probably.
There was a list on that email that I sent.
Yeah, they probably figured out which way Virginia is going to go, and which is the way it always goes. I mean, Norfolk and Ghent might be the. I don't know the.
No, because Norfolk has always been
region.
Republican.
Well, all right, our region votes Democratic, but the state as a whole votes Republican.
So
we
don't cause a threat to them.
Yeah, I mean they're going to go to key swing states. That's where they're going to go. And the funny thing about this is that it's still the American Family Association, and they're still spouting the same rhetoric of hate and that they always have, but.
That means the Westboro Baptist Church has an agenda, has their calendar worked out already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now they're playing coy with their associations with Rick Perry. It's like because Perry is sort of, it seems like he's distanced himself from them a little bit because his name isn't attached to these things again. But then at the same time, they've openly supported him, but he hasn't denounced anything that they have to say, any of their hate speech.
Well, I think it's also in their interest to distance themselves from Perry since he's been fumbling a lot.
Well, I mean, he's their guy. I mean, that's clear that he is their guy. And
yeah, definitely.
Did you see the debate where he forgot the third thing that he would cut?
Yeah.
But how could you vote for anybody?
He wanted to abolish, what was it, the Department of Education, the
Department of Commerce.
Department of Commerce was supposed to be,
and the other one.
It's like if you are laying out a list of 3 things, just 3, that you want to get rid of as a matter of policy, you should probably remember their names.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think I could vote for anybody whose list of 3 things that they were going to cut included education.
Education, I know. And that's the thing,
I'd vote for the guy that wants to spend more on education.
Oh, more on education, I know. Because apparently we have some dumbasses running for president, so we need to up our game a little bit.
Well, there's been things going around saying that Kane is a joke candidate, he's just in it just to
for the lulz.
Yeah. Well, to help push political to.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. That's a lot of political maneuvering that I can't even speculate about. I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's just. Although I did think it's provided a lot of material for Saturday Night Live.
Sure.
They've been funny with it when they have the debate and they ask him about his 999 plan, and the guy's like, when I made that statement, I didn't think anybody would actually take me seriously. I don't have an answer for you.
God. It is funny though. Whenever the big religious right and like far right politicians start making comments, it seems the comedians have just a gigantic, just supply dump of ammunition to throw out there because it's so laughable. I remember. Do you remember several years ago, Jon Stewart was on Crossfire?
Yeah.
Did you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they asked him what he would do if who was running? Was it Kerry? It was Kerry was running against Bush, and he said, he'd be sad if Kerry won because he would certainly have less stuff to joke about. Like because Bush has given him so much
comedy
stuff,
gold. I think that it's in the Constitution that there will be no religious test for public office.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think religion is becoming a huge issue in politics right now.
Yeah,
it's more so now than ever before, and I think that I don't know, it used to be the idea that the person in the elected office, we just sort of assumed he had a religious stance.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, you can go back in history, in recent history, and you can even find, very devoutly religious presidents, whether good or bad, who didn't necessarily legislate because of their religion.
Right.
I mean, Jimmy Carter he's a evangelical Baptist who taught Sunday school, but he never legislated like he was an evangelical Baptist who taught Sunday school, Yeah,
that's a very good point. I mean, and now these guys, I don't know. It used to be that maybe their religion would inform their character, but now it seems to inform their policies, and that is absolutely the wrong way to go.
Yeah, it's reprehensible. I mean, even George Bush Sr., he wasn't evangelical, but he was a devout Episcopalian. And he was very devout, but he didn't let his religion influence his policies. His policies were evil enough on their own.
Yeah. Well, I just think that whatever a person's religious views are, that they have to realize that we're a diverse nation of many religions, and that the president's job is to support and defend the Constitution of the United States, which protects minority religions.
Yeah, the religious right seems to forget that. They tend to. You have a lot of like absolutist Christian nationalists who believe this is a Christian nation. They seem to conflate the founding fathers with the 12 apostles and the Constitution with the Decalogue. It's like they're the same thing. And I love it. I remember when, like, a few years ago when the Ten Commandments thing was like really big, like all these politicians pushing to have the Ten Commandments displayed in front of courthouses and in their state legislatures and stuff like that. And it's funny how few of them could actually name the 10 Commandments. It's like, name them. And they could get maybe 3 or 4 of them, and then they forget the rest.
Well, I think that a better question would be, all right, so what? You can't name the 10 Commandments. In my mind, BFD, a more germane question would be, name the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, right? That would be a question that they should be able to answer. I don't think I could do it, not without some prep, but I guess maybe I should put that in my back pocket for something to do later.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy.
You're going to become that guy. You're going to become like one
Ask
of
me
those.
next time to name the first 10 amendments to the Constitution.
That's going to be our next question.
It's hard, man. I used to have them all memorized in order. I could probably get off 6 or 7 right now, but
you could pass.
Yeah, I could pass with a D,
But what I mean, like I would want my legislature, I would want my legislative body, any elected official, he should be able to tell me the first 10 amendments to the Constitution instead of the first 10 commandments. I think that would be a more important question to ask.
Yeah, I mean that's the point too, right? Like, BFD, I can't remember off the top of my head the first 10 amendments that make the Bill of Rights, but anyone, I don't have to legislate on a daily basis based on those.
Right, yeah.
It should be.
It's not your job.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just a citizen, and arguably citizens should know their rights too. But and I do, but I can't name them in order. If it's my job to, that's a job requirement.
I agree.
It's like being an electrician. It's like, well, do you know how to wire a house?
No.
I know wires do it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, here you go.
Good
Here's
enough.
your tool belt.
Right. I don't know any of the electrical coding, but I am a devout Christian, and God will make sure that I do the right thing.
And I know God said, "Let there be light," and I know how to turn off a light.
Right.
Yeah, I can flip a switch. I know electricity hurts when.
It's an interesting metaphor.
I don't know. We just kind of went off on that.
But I mean that's what it is, and it sucks when the religious right in this country, they tend to forget that they're not pastors, they're not deacons, they're civil servants, and they're supposed to be serving the entire citizenry, not just their particular group of supporters.
That's
And
right. They're there to protect the minority.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that before, right? Our system is set up to protect groups and individuals from the tyranny of the majority.
Well, you wouldn't know that by looking at the news today.
Well, the news today is pretty awful. But I just think it's I don't know, man. It's telling how important candidates' religious views have become. And
I think it's mostly because it's easy. Politics is hard, man. I talk about politics a lot. I get myself in hot water because I like to talk about the two things that no one likes to talk about in good company: politics and religion. And it's sad, dude, because we live in such a political society. There are issues that are so important and need to be talked about, but a lot of people, politics are hard. It's hard, just like science or history. It's difficult. There's a lot in there. There's a lot of nuance and situation, and most people just don't have the attention span for it. Religion is easy. It's that guy either agrees with me or agrees with my pastor, or he doesn't.
so, did you see there was a Dig article about all of the GOP candidates except Romney and the other Mormon guy. What was his name? They attended this discussion in Iowa at the First Federated Church in Des Moines, which is like a big mega church, and they weren't there really to have a debate. They were all just kind of there to discuss basically their religious views, and they all took it as an opportunity to proselytize and to tell, I don't know, sad stories. And apparently everybody got all weepy and cryy. And we went looking for the video of to see if we could see if Rick Perry's shedding a tear, if he's got some big crocodile tears going on.
Just give me the video where he's high and he's doing the talk.
I think then he was just confused.
Yeah, I think it's funny that they didn't invite the two Mormon candidates. But, I mean, that is what it is, right?
I think they did invite them. It's just, I don't know, they were afraid of getting hit by lightning or some shit like that.
Right. If I can walk into a church and not get hit by lightning, I think they're okay.
Well, what is even more fascinating about the story is the history of this place and what politicians do. You said at the end of it they signed.
Yeah, the guy that wrote the blog entry, he was saying how these summits go at these churches, or at this particular mega church, because it's done it before, because Iowa kicks off the primary season. that at the end of this little summit, they all sign this big placard that is, has like a statement of belief or some sort of platform statement. And the blogger commented that he was sitting in the gallery watching the summit when all of the candidates, Bill Clinton included this time, this was in a previous year, that they all signed a placard stating that they would defend and support marriage as a union between one man and one woman. And Bill Clinton signed the Defense of Marriage Act. He took that statement and turned it into law.
Yeah.
So it just illustrates like how influential these mega churches can be.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the evangelical vote that really cemented Bush in office for 2 terms. And dictated a lot of his policy because he went from being an Episcopalian just like his father to being I forget what his denomination is now. It's some evangelical Protestant denomination though, and that dictated his policy for 8 years. He used to have over the phone conference meetings with Ted Haggard, and he was the president of the National Association of Evangelicals or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's becoming really important. I don't think it's going to let up. I think it's going to be more of an issue as we get closer to Election Day.
Yeah. Yeah. It sucks that there aren't more openly non-believing, or at least openly skeptical politicians, because I'm sure most of them believe that it's political suicide. I think we have one open atheist in Congress, and he's from my state. And that's it. Not that I think an atheist would inherently make a better candidate, but just to show you, like, it's a very underrepresented, what do I want to call it? Standpoint, on religion, because it's such a polarizing issue and it's so important in politics now, unfortunately.
Yeah. There's a if I haven't already sent it to you, there's a and I wanted to save it for discussion on another show, but there was a study that was done that showed that atheism breeds distrust among people.
Yeah, I saw that. You did send that.
They perceive it as a mistrust issue, or atheists are more mistrusted than right. Well, and I think we should set it up and then maybe talk about it on another show. But it's pretty good.
They've been doing studies like that for a few years now. I remember a couple of years ago it came out that atheists were the least trusted group. Less trusted than Muslims in the U.S., and that's saying something.
Yeah, that is saying something.
The general population really does feel that atheists are immoral, libertines that
baby
go
killers.
Around just doing whatever they want, eating babies, running over people, cats and dogs. Just running amok, and it's, really, I most of the atheists I know are some of the most upstanding, thoughtful human beings I've ever met.
Well, atheists don't pass laws like they did with Oklahoma City Council, where they passed the sexual orientation law, and then where, the guy Pastor Tom Vinyard of a Baptist church in Oklahoma said that that is trying to rally against gays, saying that they commit more murders than any other sect. And,
yeah.
And,
Well, you know, actually,
a little backstory on this is Oklahoma City Council just passed a controversial bill adding sexual orientation to the list of things that cannot be discriminated against for civil servants and government employees.
Well, kudos to them for doing that.
Yeah, it's excellent. That's awesome. It kind of pisses me off that it was a 7-2 split. It's like, that should have passed unanimously. But I'm very happy that it passed at all. I have a lot of, gay and transgender friends, and I think that's excellent for them. It's an issue that gets trampled on a lot, unfortunately. But yeah, this pastor Tom Vinyard, there was a big debate, and he brought up the statement that some New York judge, I don't know if it's real, said that more than half of all murders in large cities are committed by gays. That is insane.
It's demonstrably false and wildly. I don't know. It's just too bizarre to even comment. Like, wow, how could you say that?
Yeah. And
I know how they can say it because
ovation out of anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. He gets a standing ovation for it.
I know how they can say it because it's on the same vein of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops saying that they argued that Satan was responsible for homosexuality. So of course they're going to do more killings than anybody else.
Catholics, right?
Huh?
I think it was a couple of years ago. Pope Benedict XVI. He said that child rape isn't that big of an issue because it was really common years ago. Yeah. Yeah, they used to do it all the time in my day. It's not a big deal. Slavery is not a big deal. I mean, there used to be millions of slaves in this country.
If I was a constituent in Oklahoma City and found out that my city council representative voted against a measure to prevent discrimination based on sexual orientation, so what is it? I would at least give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, why did you vote against that? Well, are you saying it's okay to discriminate against someone based on their sexual orientation?
What they said, the people who voted against it were saying, what they said is the reason they voted against it is because homosexuals already have protection under the law. They don't need added protection. Because it's wrong to, there are laws on the book that if you're beat up or if you're, harmed for any reason, doesn't matter if it's because they were doing it because you're gay or whatever, there are laws on the books that would.
Well, that's for assault. This is talking about discrimination as a job requirement or as a prerequisite for a job. Oh, don't hire that guy because he's gay.
Yeah,
but that's the argument that they're putting out there is that there's already laws in the book to protect gay people.
And there were, but they kind of skirt the line and they were very vague. There wasn't one that went out there and specifically said, like, every time before this, it was kind of debatable, and you could make arguments for and against. But I mean, this is it's a plain, clear-cut addition to a law, which I think is commendable.
And it's from Oklahoma, so that's pretty heavy.
Yeah, don't see that coming out of Oklahoma too much, do you?
The Midwest surprises me sometimes. It's like Iowa is one of the states that allows, same-sex marriage. Iowa.
Yeah, Iowa.
Let's think about this. It's fucking Iowa, man. If they can allow same-sex marriage, what the fuck is wrong with everyone else?
It's the potatoes.
Iowa.
That's Idaho, but it's corn. I don't know.
Idaho is a terrible state. Just kidding to anyone who's listening from Boise.
Nobody listens.
Yeah. We just do this every week and no one listens at all.
I'm wondering if the if we're talking about the increasing presence of religious issues in politics, is it a backlash or a reaction to an increasing awareness of gay and lesbian, LGBT equality issues? Do you think that's it's a backlash to that? Because that movement's gaining traction. I mean, it's people are getting behind that more and more every day, and as time marches on, it'll like we said last time, it'll just become the way. It'll become the norm.
Yeah, I mean that is the inevitable history of civil rights movements, is that, we will eventually win, and we will take the religious right, and we will drag them kicking and screaming into the next century, whether they like it or not. And unfortunately for them, that's the 19th.
Yeah.
Like. Well, I don't know. I mean, we can say that, but on the federal level, if, say, Rick Perry, let's say the American Family Association gets the power in the office, that's going to put us back a couple of years.
Well,
sure. There's always stuff like that.
And as bad as that would be, a lot of times there's 2 steps forward and 1 back. I mean, that's just. This
would be like 20 back.
But I think you're right, Ken. It marches inexorably forward. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And they will be dragged kicking and screaming.
Nature of progress.
But my thought is that if I'm wondering if the rise of religion in politics is a response to equality movements.
I feel like it is, yeah. Because it's polarizing. There's no argument against gay marriage or abortion or anything like that. There's no argument whatsoever against it, save for the religious argument. And I feel like it's the last, the last stand of these conservative strongholds. It's the last stand for them.
No,
they can't do anything else. And I have to say, sure, if Rick Perry gets into office, it'll be a step back. But 2 steps forward and 1 step back is still 1 step forward.
Yeah.
After the Emancipation Proclamation and the Constitutional amendments stating that slavery is illegal and that guaranteeing citizenry to natural-born U.S. citizens, we still have to step back with things like the Jim Crow laws, segregation. But, time marches forward. Even with setbacks, you're still moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. I see that. I see it as inevitable, and it's just a matter of when and not if.
Yeah. Stumbling blocks only allow for you to fall forward, not backwards. So, I don't think anything's going to prevent this, and I agree with the idea that this is a generational issue. 2-3 generations down the line, LGBT issues are going to be like, what issues? What are you talking about? We'll be able to tell our grandchildren that, in our day, gays and lesbians had to fight for their rights to do stuff, and it's gonna blow people's minds.
Yep. You know what else blows people's minds? The question that Bob asked.
Oh yeah. That was a good one this week. I like it because it's nuanced, like so many things. So why don't we play that video?
Hey, this is Bob at Zombie Popcorn, This Non-Religious Life. And we're back with another installment of stuff to think about, crap you should know. So I did a little research, and it turns out that in 1936, the Hoover Dam was completed at a cost of 112 human lives. 1937, the Golden Gate Bridge, 14 people were killed in that. Even moving forward in history, The Alaskan oil pipeline in 1977 was 31 people, and even just recently the English Channel Tunnel cost 11. It seems that we have a calculated cost of human life for these big projects. In 1931, when the Empire State Building was built, there was a rule of thumb that stated that one man would die for every floor that was completed above 15. So what is it about these large projects and our acceptance of the loss of human life? Which brings me to my next thought experiment. Suppose that you are a member of a construction team that is building an underwater tunnel for a highway through a large that's going to connect two large cities, and this tunnel has to be built, and you're at a critical juncture in the construction, and you're laying a piece of conduit down, and it has to go in that day. It has to happen in a timely manner, and it turns out one of the construction workers is trapped underneath, and if you lay the piece of conduit in place, he will definitely be crushed to death. And if you were to mount a time-consuming and expensive rescue operation, the whole project would be scrapped, and you'd have to start over somewhere else. And so the question is, do we proceed? Think about that. So the question of the workmen trapped in the tunnel, about to be crushed by the conduit being laid in place. There's a lot of elements that you can throw at that to make it a more difficult question. And oddly enough, I asked a lot of people, a lot of my friends around, we just sort of casually talked about this, and no matter what elements I threw in place, the overwhelming consensus in my completely non-scientific method I had of asking people, the consensus was largely stop the project and rescue that person.
Yeah.
And
I think it's easy, even in the thought process. I think that's an easy answer for somebody who is not invested into it. I mean, financially, career, everything invested in. It's like we could ask this question back and forth, and it doesn't affect us, even though we can try to put ourselves in that place and say we would do the right thing. But when you have company on top of company, CEO on top of CEO on your shoulder saying this has to get done now, this has to get done, you're going to lose millions of dollars, you're never going to be able to, if you scrap this, you're going to lose your business, you're going to lose your
well, you could throw all kinds of repercussions at it, and in fact, the one that I would throw in there is so like one of the things we said was that if you mount the rescue operation, the whole project goes to shit, and it's unable to be completed. You have to start completely over somewhere else. So there's a huge monetary loss, there's a huge time loss, and then you can throw in that, however many people, I usually said 2, but I said that 2 people have died already. So if you start over, does that invalidate the loss of life that has already occurred? Because
I would say yes.
Approach it from the inevitability that some accident, some unavoidable accident will happen, and there will be a loss of life. You've just increased the body count by agreeing to start somewhere else, because you have to start over. The body count has to start again.
But if 2 people already died, and you continued after those 2, you've already defined your character. You're just now asking me because you're like, okay, they're dead. We're continuing. They died, accident or not. They're dead. 2 people. You've already defined that the human life is irrelevant to the project.
No. What I'm saying is that the loss of life beforehand adds more weight to the project as already begun. As in, if you start the project somewhere else, it renders that loss of life meaningless.
But what I'm saying is you already rendered those loss of life meaningless when you continued after the first death. And then after you continue again after the second death.
Well, yes, but and which is why the question becomes which is why you set the question up as a tunnel under the water, which is there's a reason for that, and it's because ostensibly the tunnels are built to provide passage for road traffic, because ferries that go from point to point are notoriously unreliable, and when there's a ferry accident, lots of people die all at once. If you read the most of the tunnels that were built because there were these horrible ferry tragedies where lots of people died all at once. And so the nature of the tunnel is to save lives in the future.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Most people. That's why I'm saying that it would be most that they would continue the project because they've already had 2 people die under your command, and you continue the project. So if there's that one keystone that you have to put it there, and now somebody else is going to die. I mean, you've already defined the character of yourself by allowing the project continue after 2 people who've died.
But what about the guy who allows the ferries to continue, knowing that inevitably one of them is going to sink?
I'm
not
saying
he's stopping it,
but by continuing, he's not doing. I mean, this is what I'm saying is by continuing to kill that one person to tally up to 3, he's no longer killing all the people on the ferry. He's already defined his character that the project's more important than the 2 previous deaths, so the 3rd death is not going to change.
Right. I mean, yeah, but there's not a right or a wrong answer.
I'm not saying there is. I'm just saying if you continue the project after 2 deaths, you've defined your character. The 3rd death is not going to be valid. It's not going to mean anything to you.
No, I wouldn't say it does. No, that's an unfair characterization because what if those deaths do mean something and you're a consequentialist and you're trying to save people in the future. A couple people that die today means that hundreds of people will not die tomorrow.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying like it because he continued. 2 people died. At that point, you have to ask yourself whether they died together or whether they died months apart during the project. The fact that anytime one person has died and you are in charge of the project, you can scrap the project, you can continue the project. It doesn't matter if we get to that 3rd person that's the keystone. If you say, yes, it was horrible, but they died, but our goal is much bigger for the people on the ferry, for this project, for whatever reason, if you continue after that first death, you've defined your character saying that the project is more important than that person's life. When it happens to the 2nd person and you make that same choice, that the project is more important than that 2nd person's life, by the time you get to the 3rd person in your thought process, do you scrap the whole project or do you continue?
I see what you mean, and you're assuming that the people that died before that their deaths were preventable, and they weren't.
Well, it doesn't matter if they die under your command. It doesn't matter what the project is. You have a choice. Is it worth the risk to continue?
Well, a lot of people we take risks every day.
Yeah.
You by driving your car, you take the greatest risk of all, and we take it entirely for granted.
And that's what I'm saying is that the fact that the questions that you say, most people, like when we're sitting around the table talking about it, the people that you talk to said that they would scrap the project. Yeah. I find that a flawed statement because they don't have the investment involved. They've already in the conversation they've already defined that the 2 lives, accident or not, preventable or not, is okay to continue the project.
Yeah, but but they were making a statement about like a value of human life, and and I would even say like, well, the idea is that you're going to prevent this horrible ferry disaster that may or may not happen in the future, and they were like, well, you can't bank on a disaster happening in the future. You can only concentrate on what's going on today. And this was just the majority of the responses, but if anybody, one of the and I sort of kept it in my back pocket, but one of the sort of confounding questions would be if someone says that they would continue with the project, like, well, the person who was the worker on the project, they knew the risks, there's a cost benefit, there's some future benefit to be had. It's, a couple people died today is worth saving hundreds tomorrow.
It's a little Spock scenario.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the needs of the many outweigh the need. Right. Then I would ask, well, let's suppose that you are a policeman on duty and you get the call that there is this person trapped underneath the conduit and that the project has already decided to move forward. what is your obligation as a law, as a officer of the law?
If we live in modern society, the corporations own that cop. So whatever the corporations tell that cop to do is what he's going to do.
Yeah.
But if he's a moral
you
cop,
might be right. And then the discussion turned to the Chilean miners, right? We were talking about acceptable risk. Yeah. And my question then was do you think that these expensive and time-consuming and resource-eating rescue operations would have been made for the Chilean miners had it not become a national press coverage?
Well, we just got to look at the history of how many miners have died that we haven't heard about.
That's why you haven't heard of.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I would say probably not.
Yeah. The funny thing, sad thing about that was how companies were trying to buy ad space on the video shot.
Yeah.
Saying Coca-Cola helped this rescue.
Yeah, I know, right?
Big banners. Like, what the fuck?
This rescue brought to you by.
Yeah. But anyway, I think it's a really good argument, or a good not argument, but a good thought process of it.
Yeah, and again, I want to say that in these sort of thought experiment things, there isn't a right or wrong answer. It is all about framing the question and throwing difficulties at it, and what. And I'm not even saying it's not what it reveals about you as a person when you answer. It's what it reveals about how you think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And one of the really important things about any kind of critical analysis is thinking about how you think.
And that's very important. I think. I find myself in this problem too, but I think it's an issue of society at large as well. Is that we don't truly understand why we come to the answers that we pick every day.
Well, and that's a good point. And I think that like some of the things that we're just sort of hardwired to think that way, whether it's right or wrong. We just sort of, that's that gut reaction that you have. Yeah. And it's good to examine that. And sometimes that gut reaction is right, and sometimes, sometimes that gut reaction supersedes rationality.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Well, good job for bringing us a new one.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
And for all the listeners, we have a really good one for next week. So.
Because all the other ones were not really good, according to Ken. He just said.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I
like this one. I like this one a lot because it adds. There's a level of economy to the moral situation. It requires you to base your judgment on the idea of the worth of a human life. And I think that makes it all the more complicated.
Well, I also like it because I think it's a little more nuanced than the trolley problem.
Yeah.
Because essentially it kind of is the trolley problem where you're saving future lives at the cost of fewer immediate. But now we throw in this idea of like there's lots of money and time and effort involved. Mm-hmm. It is a more nuanced version of the trolley problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like it.
We like nuance.
I do like nuance. It's
I like neutrons.
Neutrons are cool too. Neutrons are cool. Yeah, I guess.
Anyway,
as far as subatomic particles go, sure.
I wasn't trying to derail. I was just sorry.
No, I like nuance. It makes it more realistic. I took philosophy in college, and you get these we deal with the trolley problem, but it's oversimplified, and there are less factors involved than there normally are in real life, and I like that because it's like I said, it adds economy to it. And what's the value of a human life?
Yeah.
What if it's millions of dollars? What if this tunnel dictates the country you're in, either being a prosperous nation or falling into decay as a third world nation?
Well, right.
What if you're talking about the starvation of millions because of this tunnel? where does it stand there?
I do like where when you're talking with somebody, you can throw confounding layer upon confounding layer.
Yeah.
Well, what if this? What if that? What if the guy in the tunnel is your Uncle Steve, who you really love a lot, and but like you said, it's the tunnel's gonna determine the future prosperity of a whole city.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, millions could starve if it ends, or the poverty level just shoots through the roof, and unemployment, and all those nasty things that we don't like.
It's all what ifs.
Yeah, and I like it. It was a good one. So definitely something. If you haven't seen the video, rewind, because we played it here.
Rewind.
And watch it again, and think about it. And I mean, let us know what you think. If you think we're completely off, tell us. Say no. I would definitely go ahead with that and just drive on through.
Well, again, no right and wrong answers. It's an exercise to examine your thoughts.
In critical thinking. And how much time do we have?
5.
5? Can I just plug that little documentary we sent around last week?
What, Out in the Silence?
No. Here Be Dragons.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I don't sure.
Did you guys watch it?
Yeah, and I have problems with it, but go ahead.
I do too. I think it's oversimplified.
So why do you want to plug it?
I think it's worth a watch.
I don't think it is. I think it's very misleading. I think it needs to be analyzed and discussed without promoting it, because some of it's way off base. I think.
I haven't watched it yet.
What do you think?
He hasn't watched it.
I failed to do my homework.
I say we should use it for a topic discussion for this show, and then promote it that way.
I think it's oversimplified, and I think it's. I don't think he touches on some of the nuance that he could touch on, but I think he makes some decent points.
I think the imaging and the wording is very, very wrong.
Well,
but anyway, we'll use it for another show.
I promise I'll watch it before next week, and we'll talk about it then.
All right, sweet. So if we have 5 minutes, I guess let's closing remarks. Anybody?
Do it.
Anybody?
You
guys? Bueller.
I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Just we can wrap it up.
Yeah. So yeah. Let us know what you think, guys, because I mean, we're out here every week.
Obviously, we don't know what we think.
Talking, and we know what we think. I know what I think. I don't know what they think. I don't know if they think.
Jason, how could somebody listen to our show?
What?
With their ears? No, you can actually go to Stitcher.com/zombiepopcorn, and you can get on demand of our podcast, of all of our podcasts, not just this show, but all of our shows that Zombie Popcorn puts out. And if you do it now, you could win $100.
Nice.
And for information about that, just head over to zombiepopcorn.com and click on the contest section where it says win $100 from Zombie Popcorn. And also download Stitcher, which is an awesome app that allows you to listen to our show and several other shows for free on demand without having to hook up your phone to your computer and go through iTunes or the Android market or whatever. It does it automatically. So anytime there's a new show, it automatically goes to your phone. So do that. Check out zombiepopcorn.com for all the information that you need. And take it away, Ken.
All right. Good plug. I just want to add something. It's the cool thing about it is there's no syncing or downloading required. It's all streaming. And it's not just our shows and other podcasts, but, I was looking through the list of, it's a lot of talk radio and like MSNBC and unfortunately Fox News and, there's tons and tons of channels to listen to. So you should get it for no other reason than that. Give us a call. Let us know what you think. Leave us a question. If you have a thought experiment that you want us to cover, you want Bob to make a little video and then we can talk about, give us a call, 757-337-2195. You can email us at nonreligious@zombie-popcorn.com. You can like us on Facebook and tell us what you think there. Facebook.com/thisnonreligiouslife. You can go to iTunes and download all the episodes of our show, or you can check out the other Zombie Popcorn shows and, leave feedback there. Give us a 5-star rating. Tell us we're amazing.
You're amazing.
You're amazing. Awesome. Let us know where the bee's knees or something. And just, tell us what you think. Go to our YouTube and leave comments there. We love reading them. That's all I have. I think that's all we have. It's become so much that I can't remember all of it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Jason, is that it?
That is it.
We're out.
That's all of it?
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. We'll see you guys next week.
Good times.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Just got out here.
I thought I was a good Christian.
Jesus died on a cross. I go to church every Sunday. Just got out here. Then I read that this Jesus died on a cross for a rotten hooker.
I thought I was a good Christian.
I go to church every Sunday.
I thought I was a good Christian.
I go to church every Sunday. I'm a very religious person.
I thought I was a good Christian. The very lies the serpent told to Eve in the Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spreads confusion and promotes lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spreads confusion and promotes lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spreads confusion and promotes lies. The gospel